it last time, but someone had a problem with the change of time. It's hard to get everyone on the same page. But we are starting
Mm,
class 3. Hi, Cynthia, Heart and
um,
Soul of Coaching and Healing,
yeah,
class
yeah, well,
3.
I mean,
S-
there are
s-
others.
Yeah, so we'll
But
do some self-empowerment today. We'll talk about that. I want to revisit the soul centering. I want to kind of do another quick round of that just because there was a little confusion last time. Um, and we'll start to go into self-empowerment, talk more about that, muscle testing, how to use the mudras and oracles. And there may be a little more extra time for something else, but that'll probably cover it because that's a good um, amount of material plus some time to experience, of course. All right. Um, any shifts from the last little soul centering experience excursion we had? Because we're going to revisit that. Anything that else that has come up since we last spoke on that? So we're going to talk about your empowerment, which could be called personal strengths, and I'll put it on a, a board here. We'll get a little everyone's info on that.
hey, Philip,
Yes.
in answer to your question a minute ago, it took me a minute to think of it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I recall that I got the message to use sound healing, and
Right.
I couldn't come up with any kind of original sound, um, or anything other than, okay, let's go find something on YouTube. So I tried that, but it was like I, the idea that I had at the time, and this is almost a week ago, so I'm speaking of things that seemed perfectly clear then and are a little bit hazy now. But I said, well, I'm just going to have to take whatever this is, and if I can, I'll make it my own, and I'll adapt it to my situation. And that seemed to work pretty well, actually.
Okay. So did you get some sounds?
Yeah, I found something. I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking that I listened to it as I was going to sleep, and then with these earbuds throughout the night, and then the next morning I felt quite a lot better.
Yeah, you may want to make some notes on it. Good. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay.
So when we think about self-empowerment, which this course includes in it, and we talked about the activations, that's sort of a third activation, breaking away from the herd as we describe it. So the herd is our family, is our culture, is our conditioning. Some of it may be very valuable, maybe kept us safe, also limiting, kept us in sort of a box into following rules and doing what other people told us we were supposed to be doing, right? And but to be self-empowered uh, is going to take you into recognizing yourself as a more soul individuated person having an experience here on earth, recognizing, waking up to that, and embodying your personal strengths. Um, just to get some ideas of self-empowerment and what it means to you, what comes to mind for you?
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice. I like that. Yeah. Who who is that? Was that Cynthia? Who said that?
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought it was you. Yeah, good. And what comes to you, Pamela?
Expressing the essence of my true self.
Mm-hmm. Your essence. I like that word. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is going back with your essence more than your personality. Uh, anything, George, that comes to mind for you?
If I can manage the technology here. Well, so um, I normally think of empowerment as involving knowledge and skill, but of course from, which we do well to develop for sure. But from a spiritual perspective, it's also calling on resources of a spiritual nature, right? And guidance.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. And Terry, did you want to add something?
Sure. Mine, the first word that came up was independence.
Mm-hmm.
But then in a more spiritual aspect, that feels like sovereignty. So
Okay.
a
Sovereignty
higher evolution of that.
and autonomy, that's sovereignty. That's one of those hard words. Sovereign. That's not spelled right. SOVR
E I.
NIGH. Something's not right there. Sovereign.
T.
Okay. Sovereign. Maybe
SOVEI.
EG.
Sovereignty.
Yeah.
Anyway, also with and some of it is
GNTY.
EGNTY.
Yep, you got
Okay.
it.
And it's independence and it's interdependence too, that we're connected and interconnected versus being codependent, kind of the opposite, being disempowered. Some other things that come to mind are getting in touch with your creativity, gratitude seems to come with self-empowerment. And what's on the other side is tends to be control and manipulation, where that's where we're either trying to control or trying to manipulate or being manipulated too, and more fear-based, that controlling thing. Something that is we talked about in the first class is that high thymus. We're going to do an experiential on this in a moment to embody it. And if you want to go back to your manual just to refer to that high thymus qualities that John Diamond outlined, I think a really good one is a high will to be well, which I connect with aliveness, and that tapping on your thymus, which we'll do a little more of that and do some mudras, following your heart, positive outlook. So all of that is empowering, right? And if you even say a mantra about being empowered, any of those things that empower you, that will strengthen you too. If you say, I am empowered, I'm becoming more empowered. If you say that, feel the strength of that. You notice your posture, how it feels in your body. Okay. And we'll do a few more of those in a minute just to get a sense of that. So I want to return from a slightly different perspective to the basic soul centering, which is a cornerstone to the program, as you know. And let's do that, go to a soul-centered place and get a resource for empowerment. Okay, so just to review, as we were talking last time, we have 2 scripts for soul centering, which I combined in the demo. And George, I don't know if you've had a chance to review them since the last time. Those of you who've been in the course a while, you probably are pretty familiar with them. Did you review them, George, since the last class? The soul centering? The one we didn't. Hey, hi, Angie.
Please speak.
Hi. I'm driving as a passenger, so I will, how long do we have? Maybe 10 minutes, I'll be settled.
Okay, you'll just be in, listening. Okay.
Yeah.
George, I didn't hear what you
Yeah.
said.
I don't know if I reviewed both of them.
Yeah. It's okay if you didn't. Well, we do encourage you to do that. In fact, we encourage you, if you can, to regularly do soul centering. So that script
Sure.
there's two kinds of soul centering in this we did last week. There are more.
Oh, Mud to Mountaintop. Yeah, I did that one.
Yeah, the mountaintop. Good. So the other one is just opening your heart and feeling your heart connecting with your soul, relaxing your body. And from that place, you also can imagine going up to a mountaintop and connecting with your soul from that perspective. And that's what we did last week, although it got a little elaborate in some cases. And then just from there, you could get a message or a resource. Very simple. That's all we were supposed to do last week. And so I want to do it again. And this time, just ask for a resource for empowerment from your soul. What would be a good empowering resource? Now, it might be a symbol, a color, a message, an image. Okay. And when we come back, then I'll even give you a minute to write down some notes. That's a journal, kind of journal some of what you got, and we can share. Okay. So I'll briefly take you into a soul-centered place again, like we did. And you can just, if you can, relax and close your eyes. And breathing is a good way to slow your brain waves down and relax different parts of your body. Relaxation is who you are as you let go of anything you don't need. Just clearing your mind and letting your body become even more and more relaxed as I count you down into a more relaxed state. 5, with each number getting more and relaxed. 4, much more relaxed. All parts of your body, waves of relaxation. 3, getting even more loose, limp, letting go. 2, and 1, even more, much more relaxed. And from this very relaxed place, you can open up your heart. And from that opening in your heart, you can sense or feel, connect with your soul, that bigger energy, that larger you, that accepts things, that understands things, that's so expansive, that connects with the love from your heart. And from the opening in the top of your head, your higher chakras go into the whole universe, into your higher self. And from there, you can lift up to that mountaintop or higher realm, that higher lofty area where you can connect more fully with your higher self and the beautiful surroundings in that lofty, beautiful area, which may be new to you today or revisited. Breathing into that, claiming your power. And there may be other resources or angels or other supportive beings there too as well. Very good. And as you hang out there, just bring in the loving energy and ask for a resource for your empowerment to help you claim your empowerment so you can be a more fully functioning, embracing your full potential, living your higher life, timeline, higher path, getting that symbol, which could be a color, a picture, an image, could be a sound or a feeling, a sensing, a knowing. Just allow that to be whatever is right for you. And it may come to you later too as well. Noticing it, taking it into your body and into your awareness, your soul's resource for you for empowerment. And thanking your soul and coming back into your body. bringing back down, feeling your feet on the floor, on the earth. I'll count you back up to a waking state with your resource. 1, 2, using this experience any way you want. 3, letting go of anything you don't want. 4, coming back refreshed with 5, your eyes open, back in the room. Hi, Ariel. I didn't see you there.
Hi.
Hi. And if you do have a paper or something to take notes on, you could, well, I'll give you a minute to journal about your resource because more of it may come in, and this is that kind of soul journaling we encourage, but I'm going to actually give you a minute to do it. I know you could have it for 10 or 15 minutes, but it's going to be a brief one. So if you do have something to write with, you can go ahead now.
I got it.
Okay. Well, if some of you are finishing up, I know you could go on for quite a bit, but would anyone like to share what's coming through, what they experienced?
Well, I'll
Pamela.
go.
I was,
Got 2 people at the same time. Pamela and then Cynthia.
Okay, well, I was given the High Priestess card
Oh, wow.
because my resource is telling me that I am ready. I am ready to be the High Priestess and empower myself forward to be who I was meant to be. That's what I was given.
Mm-hmm. Anything more about the meaning of the High Priestess, which is one of the major arcana in the Tarot deck, in case someone doesn't
Yes,
know that?
yes. So she is highly intuitive
Mm-hmm.
and she is, she's full of mystery of but she's also the feminine aspect. She has the Boaz and Joaquin pillars, the black and the white pillars between her for balance, and the whole of the ocean behind her. So she is a drop in the ocean, but she is the ocean. So she represents everything, and also the creation of the intuition. This is how I see her anyways.
Sure.
And she is her own empowered self. She comes to you with the knowledge because she sits on her throne with that book on her lap. And so she comes to you with the knowledge of above and the experience of below. So she's pretty high up there.
That sounds an empowering archetypal energy to embody. That sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Cynthia.
Hi. I incorporated one of the mudras, and it's the one where you connect all of the fingers to connect all of the elements. So it was kind of
mudra?
Yes.
Which one? Do you remember which one it is?
The one with connected with all of the fingers to
that's kind of a manifesting one. Yeah.
Right. So it kind of took me to my heart, and then quickly I went out I saw other things, and then I eventually got to a park. I did see something red. I believe it was like a red kite. And then there was lots of grass, open space, and some children running around. What I'm kind of gathering from that is just, getting out, being with nature, more balanced.
Mhm.
enjoying life.
Yeah, it might be part of the magic child, as we sometimes talk about that magical,
Mhm.
pure, playful energy too. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Cynthia. Very good. Does anyone else want to share what they were, the resource they were picking up for empowerment from their soul?
I was
Good.
given an orb
Terry? An orb. Okay.
and was kind of in that dreamy state.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I was kind of curious, like, okay, well, what's that for? So I just kind of had to ask the question again because we were already coming back. But I got it's it was white, kind of um um it was the ability to see.
Like,
So
you mean like kind of clairvoyance, or what do you mean by the ability to see?
I guess so because I just wrote down what I was getting with the
Sure.
inquiry, and it said to the ability to see and to receive messages.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, oh, um, images come in, like you can see them, images would be given in that spherical shape. And imagery is often what I get in session, a different modality, but in session. And then I sit with it afterwards. Sometimes I get the awareness right away, what the image means, but sometimes the image has to inform me. So it seems like it was more tangible. It comes in a form of seeing and divining and then perception. So
Okay. Okay. Well, all of those things seem like great resources, soul resources, the high priestess archetype, connecting with the elements in nature, getting like images and insights into things, visual insights and messages from the images. Yeah. So that is a good example of very simple, straightforward things, quite profound, which you can do with yourself regularly. And work, if you're working with other people, that would be a wonderful thing in itself. Very simple to do. But you can see how that is empowering versus the kind of conditioning of the things that we're told by the media, by people we know, conventional things, which you may be useful, you may agree with, but they can be quite limiting and restrictive, and they aren't listening to your own drum or following your high priestess or connecting with nature or getting insights and clairvoyance. Anyone else want to add anything to their soul centering excursion for empowerment?
Yes.
George?
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, this is interesting because I had this come into my mind before we even did the process, but it was like, you will receive the Book of George. I said, okay, well, we'll find out what it is. But it showed up to me as an old handwritten book. Where did I go? Okay. My phone's doing things all on its own initiative here. Anyway, so an old handwritten, leather bound, ancient, sort of medieval book, but and it kind of had a glow to it. But I said, well, what does this mean? I said, well, it's the means to know yourself. It's in accord with the principle of know thyself, and to be empowered, you have to do that, right? And I said, well, where does the information come from? I said, well, it's basically a digest of information from the Akashic records. But it's a little more, it's just high level, easily accessible information.
Is it some general information or about your Akashic records or?
Yeah, about mine, about me.
About your
right?
own Akashic records.
Yes,
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
So that was basically it. And I said, well, how do I access it? So there are many ways. You're learning some of them.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. When we are getting into the soulful place, we're transcending time, which means we're connecting with different time periods
Yeah.
and beyond. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, George. Very good. All right. We'll continue this exploration today and throughout the course. I want to shift into muscle testing, a tool that we're going to be using throughout this course. And we'll also continue with the self-empowerment theme with it too. So muscle testing. First of all, how many people are familiar with muscle testing? So okay, and I can't really see Angie and Terry. Do you know how to do muscle
am.
test? Yes,
Yes,
for
I am.
Terry. Angie, yeah, muscle testing, yes, no? You unmute, please. Angie. Go ahead.
I've seen people do it, and I know of it,
Oh,
and
you
they've
haven't
done
done
it
it
on
yet.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done it myself.
Okay. So are the rest of you actually pretty good at it, or just, I mean, it's just something you're aware of or something you actually know how to do? I'm just curious the level of you're pretty good with it. Yeah, we got some people who are familiar. Okay, good. Great.
So
So some of this,
yeah, sorry, my efforts to do it with the ring,
mhm.
that thing, totally failed years ago. It was
Okay.
like, it would give me
Okay.
the
Well,
opposite
I'm
of
going to
what I was looking for.
maybe help you out. And some of it
Okay.
is some informational things, which if you know how to do it, some of it might be a review. Some of it probably are some tips. Lisa Rankin, who's a physician, written a book, Sacred Medicine, and she studied a lot of alternative healers in the book. It's an interesting book, including muscle testing people. And muscle testing is a little controversial. It's just basically testing your unconscious, whether something is a positive or a negative to you subjectively, which you may consciously know or not. It may agree with like, oh yeah, someone's going to burn me with fire. I don't want that to happen. My body pulls back. It's obvious. But other things, focus on your mother. Yeah, I love my mother, and you pull back. What's going on there? So something unconsciously is affecting you, and that's why muscle testing, when done right, as I'll explain, can be extremely effective and versatile. Going back to Lisa Rankin, she said the science is a little dubious of it because it's very hard to get reliable testing, and the reason is because there's many ways to miss the mark on it, because you don't know how to do it, or you're really not doing it, and it's something you can feel neutral about. So if it's a subject that you're testing yes or no on, strong or weak, positive or negative, and you have a strong agenda, you can't be neutral. So you have to be neutral. In fact, some of the muscle testing results should surprise you. That's usually an indication that it's probably right. So for instance, if I were doing muscle testing about Jane and I wanted her to be well, I hope she's not sick, I would have an agenda and I couldn't be neutral. If I was, if I was able to be neutral, I would do it. But sometimes I might say, like, I just have too much in this, too much bias for this, or for myself. I can't do myself because I want this outcome so much that I can't see neutrally. Yeah. So you want to recognize that. Yeah. It's not that you don't have an intuition maybe of the answer. You may, but you have to avoid agendas because that's going to bias your results. So that's why you can see how it would be hard to have scientific results if people weren't in the right place to do it and they had agendas. That would throw it off, of course. Of course, scientific testing is wrong all the time. They have false positives and false negatives, right? And the placebo effect can really, or nocebo effect can really bias, determine outcomes too. If you think stress is going to make you stronger, you test strong with stress. If you think it's going to weaken you, you test weak with stress. And they've done experiments for that. And you want to be in a grounded place. I mean, if your blood sugar is off, if you're hungry, if you're tired, you're not probably going to muscle test as reliably, right? So you want to have a few things about that. And there are many, many ways to muscle test. I'll show you a few of them. You can pick the ways you want, and I'll show you the one that I think might be the most people like the most, but you may want to have a couple of them. And again, it's sort of an immediate yes or no. So the yes is something that's strengthening you, that you want to move forward. And that's the way we are as organisms. Things we like, we go toward. Things that we don't like, repel, we move back, right? And that's kind of a muscle testing, as I'll show you, called the sway muscle testing. But to do muscle testing with another person, you've probably seen where you press lightly on the wrist. You don't want to press on the hand, and you don't want to press so hard that you're kind of biasing it. Just lightly on one arm. That usually the arm is out. It could go straight out, or it could go to the side if you're doing with someone else. You want to ask, if you are doing someone else, do they have a hurt arm? Especially if you're doing like 10 questions. It's better to do actually statements than questions because it's confusing. You know, do you love your mother? You know, versus focus on your mother. Because if you ask a question, although it can still work, it can evoke the left brain. Well, you want to avoid the left brain. My mother. Let me see. Do I like my mother? Do I have a problem with my mother? Let me see. Yeah, I like my mother. That's all mental. That's not testing your body. That's what you want to avoid. So you want to just focus on your mother. Focus on the sound of your voice. Do I like the sound of my voice? Let me see. Do I? That's mental. Focus on the sound of your voice. Is it strong or weak when you muscle test? Okay. Those are a couple tips. We'll go into that more too as well. Let me see. There might be. Let me just see if there was some other essential tip that you might want to repeat the test. Focus on something being a priority. So, in other words, if you say focus, if you're doing a supplement, you know, focus on this supplement. Okay, the supplement test strong. This is a priority? It's weak. Yeah, you know, it's fine, but it's not a priority to take it. You could go to a health food store and end up with, 30 supplements, right? But how many is a priority? So that's kind of a good thing to say this is a priority, just to discern. Okay, a few things there. So before I show you a couple different ways to muscle test, comments or questions thus far? It's a binary yes or no. You can do it with a pendulum, which gives you some subtlety, but we're not going to teach that, but that's interesting too. It's a similar idea. You can do it with dowsing rods too. Yeah. So a couple ways to muscle test on yourself. When we're muscle testing, which we're going to do on ourselves and surrogately for another person. So in the future classes, when we go through these very powerful checklists, and you say like focus, if I'm doing it with Angie, and I say I'm doing it for Angie, I'm saying focus on your mind. I'm doing it for Angie, and I'm going strong or weak. Focus on your mind. So I'm getting a strong for Angie. And but I'm doing it for her. And the more you do it, you have to, again, just put yourself in that open, trusting place to do it. Now, if you're saying, I'm going to do it on Angie, a focus on your mind, and I'm thinking, I wonder if I can do it. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe it's not right. And now I'm not muscle testing. I'm having my own, I'm muscle testing my doubts, I guess you could say. So why do people not believe in muscle testing? Two ways. And it is good to do it on another person from the point of view of they can see a result. Like I've done on smoking cessation. So you start on with the person who wants to quit smoking, focus on being a smoker, and the person tests very strong. And at the end of the session, focus on being a smoker, and it tests very weak. That's a great test, validation on another person. But again, if the other person is dehydrated, is fighting you, is resisting you, in ways from the testing that could interfere. And so I sometimes like to do it surrogately, even if the person is in the room, because I kind of trust myself to be neutral if I feel I am neutral. And I may not be correct all the time. The tests you get from the doctors are not always correct, right? So you have to allow that. So different ways to muscle test. There's that breaking the circle. I think you have a circle and you want to break it. If it goes weak, if it holds, it's strong. If it breaks, it's weak. And you generally start out with an objective testing statement that you know the answer, like 2 + 2 is 4. So I should get a strong for 2 + 2 is 4. But if I get 2 + 2 is 4 and I go weak, so something's off with my muscle testing because 2 + 2 is, and again, you might think like muscle testing, I can't do muscle testing, then you're undermining yourself, or you think muscle testing just doesn't work. This doesn't work. So that would perhaps invalidate your results. But if you have an open mind, you're willing to do it. And the things we do in class, in case you don't want to do muscle testing, in case you don't feel competent doing it, you don't have to. You could just intuit it or ask the person. We have these lists, focus on your mind, focus on your heart, focus on the sound of your voice. Which of those do you think might be weak? You could just ask the person. Or I'm getting this one. I'm getting the sound of your voice. Okay. That was one way. And another way is a jiggle where you want to break it through, goes weak. My name is Philip. I'm strong. My name is George. No, my name is Abracadabra. My name is Abracadabra. When I say that, I become confused, which I should, because I'm not Abracadabra, right? And that means it's working. 2 + 2 is 4, right? 2 + 2 is 5. 2 + 2 is 5. I'm trying to hold this here. 2 + 2 is keeps breaking because it should, because it's out of alignment. And that's it. We know that objectively. So some of the things, if I say focus on my mother, that's more subjective and it's hard to validate that externally if it goes weak. So those are two ways with your finger, with two hands. If you want to do one hand, which is kind of nice if you're holding a supplement or a food, you can, how you press lightly on the wrist to see if it's strong or weak, and you say hold. Focus on the sound of your voice, hold. Focus on 2 + 2 is 4, hold. And sometimes you might want to start it off and do it a little bit extra, like push a little hard. 2 + 2 is 4, and I'm pushing a little hard just to get really into it for a moment, but generally pretty light. And then with one hand, you can either finger, you can just press one like you're pressing the arm. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 5. Or you can do it the other way if you like, if you feel better. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 5. My name is Philip. My name is Alan. My name is Alan. Okay, so that's one hand. And in your mind, a yes, no is really muscle testing. But you can second guess yourself. But that's a lot of it. When I do look at my supplements in the morning, yes, no. Take that one, no. Take that one, yes. And I'm going to show you kind of a way of doing this in just a moment with a list on how to look at a kind of a bunch of things quickly with muscle testing. Okay. Before I show you the other way that we often recommend doing, any comments thus far?
I was shown muscle testing as well, like where my index finger is out and then the middle finger is over it, like you were showing.
Mm-hmm.
However, mine doesn't go up or down, but when I ask a yes, it stays strong. If I ask and it's a no, it breaks the two fingers. I cannot keep them together.
Yeah, it's just saying no should make it go weak. Yeah, no weakens you and yes strengthens you. Good. Yeah, good point.
So that for me, that's a little less ambiguous because
Okay.
I get a really strong yes.
Yeah.
They don't break. If I get a no, I cannot keep the two together. The middle finger slides off.
Another way of saying that is show me a yes, show me a no.
Yep. Okay.
Show me a yes, show me a no. Okay.
It's more definitive for me, but thank you.
Got it. Yep. Thanks. That's good. So the other way, which we actually usually recommend, just because it seems to be the easiest for most people, although you could do any of the ones we did, or maybe you have another one. I mean, there are many other ones besides the ones I've shown. Is the sway test. So swaying back and forth. You can do it standing, might be easier, but once you get it, and you can exaggerate. So forward is attractive, yes. Back, repelling, no. My name is Philip, right? My name is Abraham Lincoln. No, I'm not Abraham Lincoln. 2 + 2 is 4. It can be kind of subtle, but you might want to exaggerate it just to get a feeling for it. 2 + 2 is 5. Yeah. Okay. 2 + 2 is 4. Yeah. 2 + 2 is 5. So why don't you play with that, all of you, any of those? Just say your name and say a different name, or say 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 5. You can say location. I am in, Sacramento. I am in Florida. But if you're in Florida, say I'm in Texas. Or whatever. That's an objective yes, no. Why don't you just everyone do that for just a moment, just to get an experience here? And I know some of you are familiar with it already. Okay, any comments or questions on your test? Was everyone able to do it? And sometimes you want to make sure you're hydrated too. Okay, good. So let's combine a couple things. Let's do muscle testing on connecting with angels. We connected with our soul, and maybe we'll get an empowerment message from an angel. See how that goes. On your resource section, I'll pull this up for you. There is angel information. So if you like the idea of connecting with angels, there's a checklist there, some information about just connecting with angels. And you could bring that into your life and your sessions. And there are 15 angels with some information, brief information about them. That's a lot of angels. And we've talked a little bit maybe about angels already in this course, certainly in the other courses, right? So let's say you wanted, and I've done this before, and this is one of the way I've used muscle testing. Which angel do I want to connect with to get maybe a resource for empowerment, since we've been talking about that? So there's 15, and this is one way to muscle test. What you can do is scan the list and see if your eyes land on one particular angel, rather than linearly muscle testing for each one. And you can start from the bottom or from the top. It's just whatever this is building your intuition. Okay, I did get one. I kept going back to Gabriel. Okay, communication and messages from God, 5th chakra, pearly white. Okay, so then I would muscle test. Yeah, I'm getting a strong. It's a confirmation. Yeah, Gabriel. I mean, you could muscle test each one. In other words, the focus is to get a message from an angel to help us with empowerment. Okay. So I don't know if you all have that checklist. I can keep it up just in case you don't have it. Everyone can see it, right? So why don't you see which angel you want to get a message from by doing your muscle testing, which could be the sway or the 1-hand or 2-hand muscle testing. And it's a way to open to your intuition and help you being centered in your heart and soul. And you want to have just a pure intent when you do connect with the angels. And just know that it's the messages you get for your empowerment is empowering everyone for everyone's highest good. And just be open to whatever comes through. And you may want to know that you're going to follow through on the guidance if it feels right to you. So you have kind of a pure place you're coming from. And being kind of in a thankful, grateful place for what you're going to receive here in a moment. Okay. Before we kind of go further with our angel connection, comments or questions, were you all able to kind of gravitate to an angel?
I did, but I'm not totally sure if that's the right one, but I like to see
Well,
where
what was the muscle testing? Did you muscle test the angel?
I kind of used my finger and then checked my,
Was it strong or weak?
well, I didn't do it that way that you said to do it. I
Well,
kind of,
well, do it. Why don't you do it now? You had the angel. Which angel was it?
Razel.
Raziel. Okay, so muscle test strong or weak if this is the one to get a message or empowerment help. And it should be kind of quick, and you can redo it if you're not sure,
Yeah, it comes up strong.
Yeah, it's strong.
Did the circle.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Congrats. Anyone else want to share? Were they able to succeed and kind of get? I'm sure your eyes would probably go to something, but that's sort of an intuitive thing, an intuitive way of getting information and then confirming it with muscle testing. Pamela, were you going to say something there? Go ahead.
So I thought for sure I would be connecting with Raphael, the healing
Yes.
and harmony, but it wasn't really that strong. So I thought somebody else must be trying to come through.
Okay.
And I just my eyes went on Zadkiel, and boy, was that strong. The educator, tutor, healer.
Okay, that sounds
Violet.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I did it this way.
Okay. Angie, were you able to come up with an angel there?
Yes, it was between Angel Michael or Raphael. I tested both, and it's Angel Michael.
Okay, you
It's
got
always been Angel Michael.
Oh, it's Michael. Yeah.
Yep.
And Michael's counter female Archaea angel is Constance too. They each have a counter a female angel too. Some of them are female considered too, or unisexual.
Yep.
If that's the word.
And then I have very interesting. I have Pegasus who showed up for me 2 days ago. A mythical
Pegasus,
the horse.
the horse. Yeah.
Everything I wanted to do happened like instantly. It was like magical.
What was the circumstances around that?
I had a project that needed to be completed. I was struggling with getting answers, with solutions. Next thing I know, it's like, oh, okay, here's a resource. I focused a lot on resources. I mean, like I said, since I heard from Jane, everything is like all the resources are available.
That's very magical.
It is. It's like, okay, what resource do I need right now? It's available. And then it showed up. Pegasus showed up.
Yeah, that's
together with
Pegasus.
Archangel Michael, Pegasus, and it's like, what the heck, Pegasus? It's like it's a mythical horse, but whatever it is, I took it, because it was rapid, instant, and it's several circumstances. Like, not only did I need a solution to a project I'm working on, I was looking for answers. Let's say I needed a hammer, for example. Well, my house is packed. Well, next thing I know, among the things, I find a hammer, like after 10 minutes. So anything I wanted, I needed, it showed up.
Okay.
I needed, what did I need? I needed money. It showed up. I needed $250. It showed up. I kid not. It was like one after another. It's like, okay, I'm on the right path here. Okay, this is working. Let's stay with it.
Good. Thanks for sharing. That's inspirational.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So now we could go, if you want to go to your mountaintop to connect with your angel, or just directly connect with the angel to help you with a resource or a message a word, a statement, something that will help you with empowerment. You could just tune in and breathe. I'll just kind of allow you to go inward, everyone, and take that moment of opening up to the angel that you chose, that you wanted to connect with or wants to connect with you. And it could be in your mountaintop or your special place or another meeting place, and getting that empowerment resource from the angel or message. And if you want, you can write it down, the message too. And whenever you're ready, you can conclude this communication, thanking the angel for the message resource. Knowing you can reconnect whenever you choose. Okay. So does someone have a message or an affirmation that they got from their angel? And you could see how you could do this with your clients and stuff, and it could be very, very nice way of communicating and helping people. Pamela.
So, Zadkiel said to pay attention to my dreams because I'm getting downloads and activations, and I've got to start writing them down again. I've been having a few of those moments, and it's like you wake up and you think to yourself, oh, I'll remember it. So I'm
Right.
not going to write it down yet. And
Yeah,
then as
but
I
you don't.
get up, I have to go to work, get on my day. I forget to write it down. And he's reminding me, just take a second, write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Okay,
Yeah.
so remember we talked about in the first class the homing thought that John Diamond said, like having like kind of a strong, soulful, purposeful statement. So maybe yours is I pay attention to my dreams and write them down. Is that it? Okay. So and say that and muscle test yourself how strong you feel. Okay. So now say I ignore my dreams, and now muscle test yourself. Are you noticing a difference? Yeah, that's the contrast.
Yeah, huge contrast. Yeah.
Right. It strengthens you. And of course we did kind of expect that, but it's a nice indicator, especially when there's a lot of stuff coming at us that it's distracting us, and momentums and beliefs and so forth. Someone else want to share their angelic message? Yeah, that's Terry. There's a kind of a hand in silhouette. I wasn't sure who that was for. Go ahead.
I had been musing this morning about how I felt after I was using my phone. And I use it for meditations, I use it for classes, a number of different things. But it's also very easy to also to skip to the next thing, you know? And so I was really feeling the difference after I'd been on my phone for a while. So the angel that I scanned and it came up was Sandalphon, which I don't know anything about.
Okay.
But I did ask, do you have a message for me? And I got, yes, dear one. What would you have me know? You are right that you are influenced by the use of your phone. It is disrupting your connection to us, to spirit. What would you have me do? And obvious was limit your time. So I just am getting to this sense that the phone is also extracting energy from us.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm being drained, but
Yeah.
I don't notice it when it's happening because it's engaging my mind.
Yeah. Well, and it may be, my sense of it, or the way I understand it, at least for myself, but I think in general, is like in limited dosages, it can be useful and helpful in a tool, and excessively with momentum and stuff, it is draining. It feels like it's sapping the life force. So the affirmation, tell me is this the right one, Terry? I limit my phone time.
Yeah, but I don't know how to make that true.
Well, you're going to find you'll find a way to do it. So when you say I limit my phone time, see if it muscle tests strong.
Okay, I limit my phone time. I get no.
So something is resisting limiting your phone. So that's a process which we don't have time to go into. So we'd have to look at it another time. Yeah.
But it was nice to have an angel affirming what I was noticing earlier in the day.
And that makes sense because it's the angel for environment. And Sugalite, is a good stone for neutralizing EMF type stuff, as Pamela was saying. Shungite. Yeah. It's inexpensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay. And George, you had your hand up, but you still have something there?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know the archangels very well yet. Of course, I know the ones that everybody knows, but Metatron and Michael and Gabriel and the biblical ones. But anyway, one that came up for me in some readings, and readings, is this huge thing that I'm taking on as a multi-year project learning about card readings. But anyway, Raguel has come up a couple of times.
Raguel.
Relationship guy, so to speak, archangel. And so, I mean, my circumstances here are a little strange, but I wasn't able to do any of this in as elaborate a fashion as I would like, but I'm sort of stumbling and bumbling my way through it and trying to do as best I can. So anyway, Raguel sort of came to mind as the one to connect with, and I did a sway test, which seemed positive. And I said, well, at least I've encountered this angel before. But anyway, what he said, sort of, what I got mentally was, yeah, I'm happy to be the one that you connect with now and any other time you want to. And I'll help you. If I'm not the best person on this side of the veil to help you, I will connect you with the one who is. I'll help you find him. And I said, okay, well, that's fair enough. That's a good situation for a beginner. So I think I feel comfortable with that.
So if you say that the statement, would it be I receive help from Raguel? Is that the right statement for you?
Well, yeah, either directly from Raguel or Raguel will help me find.
Yeah, but that would be implied that he would.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that muscle test strong for you? I receive help from
Raguel.
Raguel.
Let me see what Fine.
See if it tests strong for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems to.
Now, going back to Terry for a moment, another way of possibly saying it is I'm finding ways to limit my phone time. I'm finding ways. You may not know them yet, but you're open to
Okay.
finding ways. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ariel, how was your experience? No? Ariel, you still there? Maybe yes, maybe not.
Oh, sorry. Oh, here I am.
Yes, here you are. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm a little distracted tonight, so I'm
Oh,
having a
okay.
hard time connecting. So I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine if there's a challenge going on. I understand.
Mhm.
I'm glad you're able to attend.
Yeah.
By the way, next week is a week off. We have 3 weeks on, 1 week off. We have a lab on Thursday with Jane. We'll go more into muscle testing, exploring these kind of areas that we're setting up for the whole course today, and then a week off on next week. Okay. So a couple more pieces for tonight. Just going back to the mudras and the oracle cards, we have a combination of a mudra within an oracle card. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that just to give you some a little more foundation for the course going forward about what is an oracle. Well, an oracle is a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds. It's one way of saying it. And it's also a way to connect with the elements, divine intelligence, angels, the universe, getting guidance, developing your intuition. So it kind of bridges the visible and invisible worlds. And they're oracle cards, and within them is tarot decks, which is a specific structured kind of oracle, which we're not going into in this course, but that is included within it. And generally the oracles are used with an intention, and you draw a card, you have an intention for it to help you. And then you may pause and reflect on that card and see how it would apply to your life. And if you're working with someone else, you can just ask them prompts like, what's coming up for you? What does this mean for you? Or journal about it like we're doing it, or meditate about it. And they're very good for deepening your intuition oracles, for accessing higher wisdom, getting soul guidance. And it's a way to think outside the box. And it's very supportive. I mean, I can hardly imagine my life without the different oracles I use, Jane and I, regularly. It's very good for a soul-centered approach in receiving messages. And we have used different oracle decks in previous courses here, which we'll be using different ones in each of the 3 courses in this coaching program. And as you know, we are using the mudra deck, Mudra for Awakening the Energy Body. And I want to just briefly give you an overview of this and show you some ways we can use this today and going forward. So it's a 44 card deck, this Mudra deck. And mudras are these gestures, and they're actually an anchor. We know the terms reframing and anchoring. So if you're doing it on yourself, someone was giving us the Kahini, that one where you're kind of, was that Cynthia? You were doing
Yeah,
this one. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, if you do that one, a client, can go away and have that for manifestation or whatever was relevant in the session. So it's a nice thing to carry away with. And it has a strong morphic field, meaning all the people throughout history, whoever started them, have gathered energy around those gestures. And there's a couple different ways you can use the oracle or the mudra oracles. And it is rooted in yogic and Ayurvedic tradition, as you probably know. And it relates to the body because you're having a physical gesture. It relates to the mind because it might spark visualization or imagination, and your soul because you're getting messages too. So when would you use these mudras positions, these mudra cards, which you can shuffle? You could use them either before, during, or after a session, or all three, or any combination of thereof. We'll do a moment of that. We'll do that in a moment here just to get a feeling for it again today. So if you're working, let's say you're working with someone on the relationship with their boyfriend, and so you're going to do a process with them, and you could draw a card, and you may want to draw a card or pick one. Some of these are just the chakras, which I've sectioned out. And I actually have sectioned out a couple of the mudras just because they're hard to do. And so I just say, you know, if there, some of them are, it depends how coordinated your hands are to explain it, to do it. So I have just taken the ones, which are most of them, which are very simple. And there are other ones too, which you can look up on the internet. You know, like this is a very powerful one about freedom of locking your two thumbs together, the Garuda Mudra. Bring the left hand in front of the right, in front of the art facing up, across the back of the right hand behind the left palm. You know, so it just, that's pretty simple to do. That's why I like that. And they often tell you where to rest them. And you can do it intuitively. This can be, according to the deck, in this Freedom Garuda Mudra, for instance, and bring the mudra up to the throat center. So it's suggesting for freedom for expression, in other words. But, you know, again, you don't have to limit yourself to that. So you could do it as a beginning, or you could do it during the process. You know, you could be doing some soul centering on the mountaintop and you're doing that Garuda Mudra, that locking your thumbs while you're doing the healing. So that could be during it, before and or during it. And that can shift the energy too, right? Remember we did the Lotus Blossom one the first week? That's a really nice one too, where you're opening up to the energy, like the transformation of the Lotus Blossom. Or afterwards, maybe after you do a process to conclude, kind of like a coaching tool, just go into a mudra, pick one, or deliberately, or just draw one and have the person use it. And again, they can take it away from the session.
Hey, Philip, can I interrupt for 1 second? I think
Please
you
go
bumped
ahead,
your mic
George.
a little bit away from your face.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for
Yeah,
doing
thanks.
that, because I don't want to fade away here on the volume.
Right.
Right. So those were a couple ideas for the mudra. We'll just do one more little practice of it so you can have another taste of it, and we'll just intersperse them throughout the course. It's kind of an unusual oracle deck, but we do like it, and Jane and I keep exploring with it and finding all kinds of things from it. So I could pick one. What I'm going to do is pick a card for, since we were talking about self-empowerment for us all, and we'll do that position and see what we get as we're getting close to closing here. And any comments or questions though before we have an experience here?
I noticed the one you were describing with it's like a butterfly pose.
Yeah.
With the thumbs. And that I've seen that done as a soothing technique over the heart and
Yes.
tapping from left to right. And I've done it, but I was thinking how beautiful that would be in a session with someone.
Yes.
It's so not only is it a hand technique, but it's somatic.
Right.
You know, so how beautiful, especially if someone needed to calm their nervous system or to feel connected to their heart. So I just thought it was interesting that it's being used in more than one way.
Right.
you know. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Good point. Thanks. Anyone else want to share, comment, ask a question? George?
Yeah, quick comment. So I took the initiative to do some research basically on Amazon regarding Mudra card decks.
Yes.
And there's the one that you're using now and its companion. And those looked to me to be a bit more like learning tools than oracles. But there are a couple of oracle decks, specifically Mudra oracle decks. And you know, I was looking at those, and one of them appealed to me a lot more than the other based on, you know, the information given online. So I think my own strategy would be to get the two
Sure.
that are related and use those as a learning tool, but then maybe to branch out more into the oracular qualities and properties and so on.
That makes sense. Yeah. We have another Mudra deck, which we chose this one over it. It just seemed like it was a better one for in the course. And yeah, there's certainly welcome to explore. I mean, we explore all kinds of decks. Yeah. And again, the decks often have some limitations to them, things that we don't like about them. I mean, it's, you know, you kind of get what you get. So I'm going to shuffle the deck and get an empowerment mudra for us, and we can do that and see what we come up with. This is kind of an interesting deck. I guess you'd shuffle, if you didn't want to see them, you'd shuffle them this way. On the back, which they're kind of handy because they're you can read them simply. We like the simplicity of them where they have the explanations on the back. Radiant light. I haven't done this one, so this is going to be great for empowerment. I'm looking forward to that. Radiant light. Bend the ring finger of each hand and bring to the thumbs. So it's the ring to the thumbs. Cover the nail of the ring finger with the pad of the thumb. Okay, so over the nail. Extend the remaining fingers extend the remaining fingers. Rest hands on the thighs according to this, but we can do it palms facing upward. Relax the shoulders and lengthen the spine. And this is good for clarity, personal power, self-esteem. There's personal power, interesting. Focus, my inner light is vibrant, luminous, and alive. So, and let's see if you can, what's, so your ring finger, you have your thumb over the nail of your ring finger. Is that clear? And the other fingers are out, facing out. And I'm just going to put them where I'm feeling to put them, which I'm feeling over the heart, but you can put them wherever you want to put them. And just breathe that in, and just for empowerment, for a moment, we can all just do our radiant light. It's called the Surya Mudra for radiant light, and it is for power. And you can also bring in your angel again if you want. Okay. Anyone want to share what they're noticing from the radiant light Surya Mudra?
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like it. If I remember correctly from reading not all of Castaneda's books, but certain ones in the past, it seems like I remember there was a part where he said a sorcerer is the one who accumulates personal power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm a lightning rod for personal power right
You're
now.
doing a
doing
lot
this
of
with the
accumulation,
kids.
like you got an energy solar panel in your
Yeah.
mind, body, heart. Okay. Thanks. Other Surya Mudra reflections.
To me, it was about clarity because
Oh, yes.
yeah, I weighing back and forth what I need to do, so I have clarity on what my next step is going to be.
Great.
Yep.
Anyone else want to share an insight? Pamela? Were you saying something? I didn't know if you had
No,
something.
but I'll share.
Go ahead.
So I was putting it out here and I was feeling some energy, and then as soon as I put it to my heart, it just all of the light and energy just came right into my heart space and then expanded out. So
Wow.
it was kind of cool.
Wow, that is cool. Yeah, I like that. Great. Well, good job, everyone. We covered a lot about self-empowerment and muscle testing, mudras, oracles, angels. Boy, we covered a lot of grounds. We are going to get into some timelines, higher timelines in future classes too. Another new area we're exploring, which will be very interesting, I think you'll find. So hopefully you can attend the lab and we'll practice more of this with each other on Thursday, same time, i.e. that 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern time. That's the new time. And then a week off. Any other final comments or questions from anyone? Well, it was a good job by everyone.